Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about cellular reproduction in terms of meiosis. So let's start looking at this. This was on the previous slide, but I want to reiterate that mitosis is generally the mechanism that is used for asexual reproduction. So when we start to talk about sexual reproduction, you have to know that it is meiosis, and that is the major difference between mitosis and meiosis. So let's talk about sexual reproduction. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Okay, so let me get serious here. So sexual reproduction involves reproduction between two sources of genetic material, or two parents. And the offspring will be genetic combinations of the two parents. So gametes, all right, gametes are the name for sex cells, such as the sperm and the egg. And the purpose of a gamete is to fuse with another gamete to combine the genetic material, and that is called fertilization. All right, a zygote is the cell which is produced initially by fertilization, and then over time the zygote will develop into an embryo. Okay, so we have two gametes, which are the sex cells, combining via fertilization to create a zygote, which will grow and eventually become an embryo. So, how exciting. All right, so let's think about the advantages and disadvantages of sexual reproduction. So the main advantage of sexual reproduction is the genetic variation. Okay, with many genetic possibilities, the likelihood of a successful combination of traits for survival in a particular environment is very high. Okay, so there's more likely to be able to adapt to our environment. The disadvantage is you have to mate, okay, and it requires two people, and so that takes time, or it can take time. In dogs, I don't think they really talk to each other much before they mate. Sometimes it's just the smell of each other. But as in humans, it can take time, and so that there has to be two of that particular organism to undergo sexual reproduction. Also, there is a risk of unfavorable genetic combinations that will die easily, and we see that also. So, sexual reproduction begins differently than asexual reproduction, with having two parents instead of one, but it also relies on cell division. So meiosis is the type of cell division that results in those gametes, and what it does is it ends up dividing the genetic material in half so that we can bring two gametes from two different parents together and have only one set of genetic material. Okay? So let's talk about it. The human body contains 46 chromosomes. You originally got 23 from your mom and 23 from your dad, but you have 46 in every cell. All right. In order for a zygote, okay, the fertilized egg, to contain only 46 chromosomes, the sperm and the egg must only contain 23, which is half. Okay, so your sperm and your egg should only have 23 chromosomes, okay, so that your zygote, the fertilized egg, contains 46. All right, mitosis, okay, is the process that allows the zygote to begin dividing. So once it is fertilized, then mitosis begins and we have division, okay? And also during these mitosis divisions, the cells have to differentiate, okay? Because we don't come out as one big mass. We have eyes and we have ears and we have skin and we have muscles. So all those cells have to differentiate in the process. And that division is via mitosis, but meiosis makes those gametes. All right, so the process. First, meiosis produces the gametes, okay, and then we have fertilization or union of the gametes, and then we have a zygote, which will become an embryo, which will end up becoming a fetus, which will end up becoming an infant or a baby, okay, and all of those steps have to do with mitosis. Okay, so how does meiosis produce these gametes? So a gamete, all right, is different from a somatic cell. So somatic cells are all the other cells in your body, okay? All your neurons, your cells on your hands, all those cells are somatic cells, okay? All right, somatic cells are what we call diploid. Diploid means they have 2 of each type of chromosome, okay? There are 23 types of chromosomes, and you have 2 of them for a total of 46. Diploid, di meaning 2, diploid, okay? The chromosome pairs, okay, those 23 pairs are called homologous chromosomes. So a matching pair is those 2 things are called homologous chromosomes. So a human somatic cell has 46 total chromosomes consisting of 23 homologous pairs. And we'll work with this vocabulary more so that you can correctly use it, all right? But be sure to keep reading back and saying those words to yourself so that you can have that conversation correctly with all this vocabulary. All right, homologous chromosomes. All right, a gametes, remember, are your sperm and your egg, is haploid. Haploid sounds like half, okay? It only has 1 of each type of chromosome. So 1 from each of the homologous pairs. So, for example, a human egg contains 23 chromosomes. We'll be looking at some meiosis animations in class, but don't worry about this meiosis animation. Okay, so there's an image of the gametes with 1 egg. Not one egg, 1 chromosome. All right, let's look at eukaryotic cell cycle and meiosis. So at the end of interphase, which is the longest part of the cell cycle, all right, not at the end of interphase, during the S part of interphase, okay, the cell duplicates the DNA. So we know it doubles the DNA, all right, and this creates our doubled chromosomes, those X's, all right, those X-shaped chromosomes, all right. So then the cell is ready to divide, okay, DNA replication. Look at this lovely image with the X-shaped chromosomes. All right, meiosis, the process of meiosis, different from mitosis. Meiosis requires that we undergo 2 cell divisions. First, meiosis 1 is called reduction division, all right. In this division, the homologous pairs of the doubled chromosomes are separated. So the pairs, the 23 pairs, are separated, all right. In the end, we have 2 daughter cells, each of which is haploid, but contains doubled genetic material. Okay, so this is going to look a little bit different, okay, and we'll go through it and you'll play with it. All right, meiosis 2 uses the same basic steps as mitosis. Okay, so meiosis 2 is the same as mitosis. Meiosis 1 is different, okay? At the end of meiosis 2, you now have 4 daughter cells, each of which is haploid and contains no duplicated DNA. All right, so here's another graphical representation. So you start out with 46 doubled, okay, 46 X's. After meiosis 1, you have 23 doubled, 23 X's in each of the cells. Okay, and then after meiosis 2, you have 23 single in all of 4 cells. All right, so meiosis provides some different unique sources of genetic variation. All right, gene mutations, of course, can occur during the duplication begins. Then there's this process called crossing over. Crossing over is super fascinating, and scientists find it utterly amazing. So what happens is in meiosis 1, we line up the pairs of chromosome, the homologous pairs of chromosome. So you have the little X's next to each other. And this is the same chromosome, but let's say you got this one from your mom and this one from your dad, and you've doubled both of them. And then what they can do is when they're lined up, part of them can switch places. See what happened here? Okay, they can switch places. They can switch parts of their arms. Okay, and this is called crossing over, and it results in genetic recombination. So we'll play around with that with our simulation. All right, we also have random assortment. So 23 of your chromosomes came from your mom and 23 came from your dad, but during the process of meiosis, they aren't going to necessarily divvy up exactly. One of your cells has the 23 from your mom, and one of your cells has the 23 from your dad. It's not actually going to necessarily divvy up like that. You may have 3 from your mom and 20 from your dad, or it can divvy up differently. And that results in different expressions of DNA. So, for example, my daughter looks a lot like me, and I looked a lot like my father, so my daughter also looks a lot like my father. My daughter did receive 23 of my chromosomes and 23 of her dad's, but I'm winning in the battle of which genes are expressed. But she probably received a lot of my father's genetics in the division. Okay, non-disjunction, all right, is a problem. It's when the homologous chromosomes don't separate properly during meiosis 1. And this creates a gamete with too many or too few chromosomes. Oftentimes the body has mechanisms to deal with this, but this can also result in a live birth with a child who has issues. All right. Also, random fertilization of any one egg by any one sperm allows for numerous genetic combinations. Okay, so one egg is released every menstrual cycle, but lots of sperm are ejaculated into the female that allows for a numerous millions of potential possibilities.